Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Monday morning, August the 3rd, 2020. The time, 4:31 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support for your continued courage support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in the Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education, Monroe College online. I continue to pursue my social media study, being administrative, concentrating my during the time I took a break from going to school, but in the very near future, I will be going back to Monroe College online to continue to pursue my social media studies, being administrative, concentrating tomorrow. Now, on today's video, going to continue to be an advocate. You understand? Continue to speak out, continue to protest, continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. Mr. Sam Cooke, who was unjustly murdered by this criminal named Bertha Franklin. And after being murdered by this criminal, Bertha Franklin, some criminals in the courtroom, and you understand, criminals over there at the motel, went into the courtroom and committed some more crimes. And Bertha Franklin was not was not taken into custody, was not arrested, and was not prosecuted. And Mr. Sam Cooke was unjustly accused. Understand? By the people in the courtroom. You know what I'm saying? And according to the coroner's inquest, which is the state of California, the state court of the state of California, they ruled that it was a justifiable homicide, which it wasn't. Excuse me. It was a crime, and it was just another crime. And so I'm gonna continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. You understand? At the time, his wife, Miss Barbara Campbell Cooke, she shouldn't have heard nothing like that. That her husband, Mr. Sam Cooke, had been murdered. You understand? And there are two beautiful little daughters, Linda and Tracy, and they shouldn't have heard nothing like that their father had been murdered, and then had to go into the courtroom and to have something like that happen. They just let Bertha Franklin and the people at the motel basically got away with it. You know what I'm saying? So I did my video yesterday because I was off this weekend from work. I was off from work this weekend, so I had the opportunity to make my video yesterday. I did went to Instagram, and after Instagram, I did my Periscope video. And so today I'm gonna do my Instagram video. Not gonna be long. And then I'm gonna do my Facebook Live. So let's go ahead and do that. But before I do that, I'm gonna have a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's coroner's autopsy report, which is the coroner's report, and now the reason why I show this is because Mr. Sam Cook's wife, Miss Barbara Campbell Cook, is still alive. I know it's a lot of time that passed, but I know Mr. Sam Cook's family, his mother, his father, at the time had passed away, and many of his sisters and brothers, so his nieces and nephews, and you know what I'm saying, and Linda and Tracy, Mr. Sam Cook's two daughters, and also Mr. Sam Cook's other children, his daughter Carla, they're alive, and all his grandchildren, and Miss Barbara Campbell Cook's grandchildren, and so, like I said, I went online and went to Celebrity Archive, and for $25 purchased a copy of Mr. Sam Cook's autopsy report. And so, like I said, it went through the mail. And so, if anybody try to, try to run some kind of scam or anything, see, I make sure that the family, they can see what's been done. And I went online, like I said, to Celebrity Archive, and it come through the mail. Now, this is the verdict of the coroner's jury. The state of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cook, the deceased, before the coroner of the County of Los Angeles. It says, we the jury summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County at 1150 Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December, AD 1964, to inquire into the cause of death of Sam Cook, having been duly sworn according to law and having made such inquisition hearing the testimony adduced upon other oaths, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cook, a male married native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, and that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964 at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California. That this death was caused by a gunshot wound of chest perforating hard in both lungs with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California, after the deceased had made forcible entry from the testimony introduced. At this time, we find this death to be justifiable homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin in protection of life and property. And so, like I said, I don't want nobody to be trying to make no scam. So I try to make sure that the family see that I have a copy of Mr. Sam Cook's autopsy report, and trying to make sure that the lie that they've been telling for all these years, you don't tell that lie no more, because it wasn't no justifiable homicide. It was first degree murder. And tried to make Miss Barbara Campbell Cook pay a lawsuit and all that. It's the other way around. And it will be justice for Mr. Sam Cook and family as well as friends in a court of law. Now, let's go to Instagram. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine right here in the city of Memphis in the county in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Monday morning, August the 3rd, 2020, time 4:45 a.m. First thing, thank all my family support for your continued courage, support, continue to keep myself employed right in Memphis, try to stay here and continue to further my education, more positive online, to continue to pursue my social be being administrative, concentration mark. Anti-gang. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Remember these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Thank all my family, my support for your continued courage, support, and first, I always give thanks to God for all the blessings and the guidance that God provides us all with. Always put God first. Always put God first. Now, I'm gonna do my Instagram video first, and then after I do my Instagram video, I'm gonna do my Facebook Live video. So I was able to do my video yesterday. And so I had the opportunity to be off this weekend from work. So I was able to do my Instagram yesterday. And then I did my Periscope. So today, do my Instagram video, and then I'm going to do my Facebook Live. Now, I'm going to continue to speak out and protest on Mr. Sam Cooke's murder case. And continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke, who was unjustly murdered by this criminal, Bertha Franklin. And after being murdered by this criminal, Bertha Franklin, some more criminals in the courtroom ruled that it was a justifiable homicide. It was wrong. And I'm going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. And I'm going to continue to expose all these criminals for being just that, a bunch of damn criminals. And Mr. Sam Cooke, wife at the time, Miss Barbara Campbell Cooke, that's something that she shouldn't have never heard, that her husband had been murdered by this criminal, Bertha Franklin. And Mr. Sam Cooke's two little daughters, Linda and Tracy, who were children at the time, who were now adults, and had to grow up without their father, and then had to endure the injustice from this courtroom, and who ruled that it was a justifiable homicide, which it wasn't. It was not a justifiable homicide. It was first degree murder. It was first degree murder, and that's what I continue to bring to the light. Excuse me. That's what I continue to bring to the light. I have a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's autopsy report, which is the coroner's report. That is the state of California. That is the court from the state of California. And in those documents is evidence that Bertha Franklin murdered Mr. Sam Cooke. It was not no self-defense. It was first degree murder. It was first degree murder. And like I said, I have a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's autopsy. I purchased it from Celebrity Archive for $25. And matter of fact, Now this is the verdict of the coroner's jury. This is the state of California, the county of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cooke, deceased, before the coroner of the county of Los Angeles. We, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County in room 150, Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December 1964, to inquire into the cause of the death of Sam Cooke, having been duly sworn according to law and having made such inquisition and hearing the testimony adduced upon our oaths, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cooke, a male married, native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, and that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964, 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California. That this death was caused by a gunshot wound with chest perforating hard in both lungs with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin, 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California. After the deceased had made forcible entry from the testimony introduced at this time, we find this death to be justifiable homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin in protection of life and property. All of which we duly certified by this inquisition and writing by signed this 16th day of December 1964. And based on the testimony, this unjust ruling was made, and it was wrong. And I'm gonna continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. I'm gonna continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. Now, so what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna end my Instagram video and we're gonna go to Facebook Live. That way we can go into detail into Mr. Sam Cooke's unjust murder. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Now, I'm going to get ready to end my Instagram video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, Shelby State, Tennessee. Thank all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement support. And like I always say, you put God first and take care of yourself, which each and one of you very best. Now I just ended my Instagram video, so now I'm doing my Facebook Live video. Hello everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, Shelby, state of Tennessee. The date is early Monday morning, August the 3rd, 2020. The time, 4:59 a.m. First, I thank all my family, my support people, team care support. Anti-gang. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites that you can go to make anti-gang logo. Now remember these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. First, always give thanks to God for all the blessings and the guidance that God provides us all with. Always put God first. Now, I just finished doing my Instagram video, and as always, my YouTube channel is recorded. And like I said, I just did my Instagram video. One was on about 5 minutes, no, wasn't even 10 minutes. But we're going to continue to speak out and continue to protest. We're going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke, who was unjustly murdered by a criminal named Bertha Franklin. And some more criminals in the courtroom made an unjust ruling that Mr. Sam Cooke's death was a justifiable homicide, which is a lie. Mr. Sam Cooke not only was a victim of this of being murdered, but he was also victimized in the courtroom by some criminals. And I'm going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. Mr. Sam Cooke's wife at the time, Ms. Barbara Kimball Cooke, should have never had to hear that her husband, Mr. Sam Cooke, had been murdered by this criminal, Bertha Franklin. And Mr. Sam Cooke's mother and father at the time was still alive. They should have never heard anything like that either. His sisters and brothers should have never heard anything like that. And Mr. Sam Cooke, at the time, his 2 little daughters, who are now adults, Linda and Tracy, they should have never heard nothing like that, that their father had been murdered. And then had to go into the courtroom and to have some more criminals commit another crime, which is let Bertha Franklin get away with it. And so, and as well as Mr. Sam Cooke's other children, his daughter Carla, and all the grandchildren, Mr. Sam Cooke's nieces and nephews, and friends like Mr. Lou Rawls, and the Highway QC, Mr. Johnny Taylor, and so on and so forth. Mr. Sam Cooke had many friends. Muhammad Ali was a friend of Mr. Sam Cooke. They should have never heard nothing like that. That Mr. Sam Cooke had been murdered. And so, like I said, I have a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's autopsy, which is the coroner's report. I purchased from Celebrity Archive for $25. And in that coroner's report, which is the court, that's the state of California, the court. It's official documents. And for $25, like I said, for $25. And the testimony in the coroner is evidence. Is evidence. And based on and that evidence is very clear. It was murder. It was first degree murder. It was first degree. It was no justifiable. It was first degree murder. like I said, this is official documents from the court. Mr. Sam Cooke was unjustly murdered. Now this is the verdict of the coroner's jury, State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cooke, deceased, before the coroner of the County of Los Angeles. We, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County at room 150 Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December, AD 1964, to inquire the cause of the death of Sam Cooke. Having been duly sworn according to law, having made such inquisition hearing, the testimony adduced upon our oaths, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cooke, a male married native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, and that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964 at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California. That this death was caused by a gunshot wound with chest perforating hard at both lungs with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California, after the deceased had made forcible entry from the testimony introduced at this time. We find this death to be justifiable homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin in protection of life and property. You know that's an unjust ruling, and based on the testimony that's in this inquisition, it's gonna be revealed that it was that it was not a justifiable homicide. It was first degree murder. It was murder, and that it was not a justifiable homicide, and that Bertha Franklin is a criminal, and that the people in the courtroom are criminals. Now this is a world map of all the people on the earth. And this is the Albanian language map. And this is a Baltic language map. This is a Greek language map. And this is a Slavic language map. And this is the Altaic language map. And this is a Euro-Altaic language map. Now this is a Romanian language map. The Romanian language is a Latin Romance language, and Romania in the Romanian language known as Wallachia. This is a map of the languages of Africa. And this is a map of the languages of Africa. This is a map of the languages of Africa. And this is the Afro-Asiatic language distribution map. And this is the Afro-Asiatic language distribution map. And this is a Nilo-Saharan language distribution map. And this is a Nilo-Saharan language distribution map. And this is a Niger-Congo language distribution map. And this is a Niger-Congo language distribution map. Now, the title of this book, West African Traditional Religion, it was written by Dr. Joseph Obaseda Wilelu and Dr. P. Adenumo the Payment. And the title of this book, African Traditional Religion and Definition, written by Dr. E. Beloja Idowu. And the title of this book, African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. B. And the title of this book, Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. B. Now, Webster's Third New International Dictionary gives you a complete and total definition and meaning of the word gang, the act, manner, or means of going. that stupid sorority and that stupid fraternity. The East Coast bitch calling themselves sister and brother in Latin. Going around trying to claim the whole damn East Coast of the United States of America, from the state of Maine all the way down to the state of Florida. Using that occult literature. See? You don't get away with lying. Because see, nobody at the United States Justice Department told anybody to go around and start no sorority, no fraternity. They didn't tell you that. See, the sorority fraternity be out on the street and then they go around trying to influence people in the wrong way. And you go around trying to influence people by telling them you've been to college and you got a bachelor's degree and you got a master's degree and you got a PhD. Hell, sometimes when you can't, even when that type of influence don't work, you just use violence like the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, you just use violence as a way to influence people. Because don't nobody want to listen to a damn thing you got to say. And over there at the United States Justice Department, your classmates who also went to college and working at the Justice Department and working for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Linkage Prevention, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the National Institute of Health, and all these other different type of federal agencies, the ATF, the Immigration Customs. They've been to college too. They got a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, the people in the management. Because you ain't nowhere in the world you're going to be in management. And you don't have no bachelor's degree, no master's degree, no PhD. Ain't no way. Talking about working for Homeland Security. Talking about working for the CIA and working for the FBI. Ain't nowhere in the world you're going to work at the FBI. Ain't nowhere in the world you're going to be working at the FBI. You don't got a bachelor's degree, a PhD, a master's degree, a PhD. You ain't finna work on no FBI. Then nobody at the United States Justice Department tell you to haze nobody. What the United States Justice Department say, that hazing is a crime. And that what the sorority fraternity used in initiating. Then nobody in the United States Justice Department tell you to initiate anybody into no sorority, no fraternity. They didn't say that. So all them people over at them Ivy League school, the United States Justice Department did not tell anybody to go to no Ivy League school and get initiated into no sorority fraternity. They didn't tell you that. And they most certainly did not tell you to go out on the street or to go and get no job. And while you working around and walking around on the job in management somewhere, to try to negatively influence the other people who work for that company. Nobody at the United States Justice Department told you to do it. You be lying. Nobody at the United States Justice Department told you, anybody on the East Coast, to leave the East Coast and go and live in other parts of the state of the United States of America, U.S. territory, using no occult literature. Now, Oxford English Dictionary gives the complete and total definition of meaning of the word gang. Action or mode of going, way, past, a set of things or person. Now that stupid sorority and that stupid fraternity. The United States Justice Department did not tell you to go around on the street talking to other people, telling them you've been to college, you got a bachelor's degree, you got a master's degree, you got a PhD. The United States Justice Department did not tell you to do that. They didn't tell you to go on social media running your mouth. Nobody told you to do that. Nobody told you to do that. The United States Justice Department didn't tell nobody that when you married to start no sorority, no fraternity. They never told you that. See, people do stuff on their own. Just damn crumb. Now, the United States government enacted the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, the RICO Act, is anti-gang. The Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention Control Act of 1970, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substance Act, the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, Kingpin is all anti-gang. Juvenile Justice Links Prevention Act of 1974 established the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. You got other related legislation. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang List of Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention and the Comprehensive Gang Model Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. The Bureau of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative Project, Safe Neighborhood. The United States Department of Justice, the Office of Community-Oriented Police Service, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Links Prevention, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the International Narcotic Law Enforcement Affairs, the United States Department of State, the Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistant Education and Training, the GREAT Program, the United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Links Prevention. In October 2009, the National Youth Gang Center, which has been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Links Prevention, since 1995 merged with the National Gang Center, which has been funded by the Bureau of Justice since 2003. The National Gang Center and compilation of state laws against gang. Gang Prevention Overview Research Program. Mr. James C. Howard, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Links Prevention. The United States Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Links Prevention. National Gang Center Bullets. In the title of that bullet, History of Street Gangs in the United States. And you can also go to the quick reference Wikipedia. And you'll find the same information if you type gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney, Man 1457, Criminal Street Gang Stat 18, United States Code 521. The United States Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Gang Intelligence Center. The United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Section. You also have other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategy, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, Suppression. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, Change in Course, Preventing Gang Membership, striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, the United States Department of Education, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, the United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum. You can go to youth.gov and be informed about the National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum, as well as the Comprehensive Anti-Gang List, the Comprehensive Gang Model, the United States Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice System, the National Crime Prevention Council, keep kids out of gangs. The United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime. You can go to Lords.com and be informed about anti-hate. Just like I just said, nobody at the United States Justice Department is telling you stupid idiots to go around and commit these type of offenses, these crimes. They're not telling no sorority, no fraternity to go around in the community with these symbols on your license plate, trying to influence people. And who told all these students going to college to take all these courses and to become a school teacher? And you going around trying to influence the parents, talking about you in a sorority fraternity. Nobody at the United States Department of Justice told your ass that. You're not doing nothing right. Nobody told you to get initiated to a sorority fraternity. And the so-called initiation is a crime. Nobody told you to go get hazed so you can be initiated to a sorority fraternity. Nobody at the United States Justice Department telling you to do this. So all these people that's walking around, going around to different states, talking about somebody in a sorority fraternity is telling you you got the right to freedom of expression, you got freedom of speech. The United States Department of Justice did not tell you that. You're going to get your damn ass killed playing with grown people. Just like I've been telling you, you're going to get your ass killed. You're going to get killed. Now, when it comes to street slang, gang plus term, mob plus term, you know, Merriam-Webster's Third New International Dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary give you the complete total definition and meaning of the word gang plus term, mob plus term. And then you have other street slang: boss, goon, thug, crook, hoodlum, mac, player, pimp, whore, hustler, nigga, field nigga, house nigga. You got street slang for music: hip hop, rock and roll, swing, groove, jazz, blues, funk, doo-wop, bebop. It's street slang. You got street slang for money: currency, exchange, bucks, racks, stack, band, bread, dough, scratch, loot, boo, Benjamin, dead president. It's street slang. Ain't nothing official right about no street slang. And then when it comes to the sorority fraternity, just like I said, you know, all these celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainers, they went to college, got initiated. You know, they joined, became members of the sorority fraternity. The United States Department of Justice did not tell you that. They did not tell you that. They did not tell you that it was a requirement that when you go to college, you have to join the sorority fraternity. They didn't tell you that. See, you being coerced. It's coercion on the college campus. Nobody told you that. Nobody told you to go to the college camp and be initiated and be hazed. The United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime. And the sorority fraternity use hazing in the initiation rhythm. And the initiation rhythm is the occult. The sorority fraternity, they commit crime on and off the campus. They use and abuse tobacco products. They indulge in gambling games of chance. They use and abuse alcohol and drugs. They indulge in immoral activity. They indulge in sexual deviance and depravity. Don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. All those persons that initiated and started the sorority fraternity renounce them. Denounce the whole concept and idea of the sorority fraternity. The sorority fraternity, they work and they manage the businesses, the companies, and corporations. They use and misuse the background check. They commit crimes against humanity, atrocities, violations of human rights, civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, ground, water, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment, nature, and wildlife. So don't be misled by the sorority fraternity telling you that they've been to college and they got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, PhD. They criminals. Now, don't negate the pre-13 colony history. Harvard University is the oldest institute of higher learning in the United States, founded March 13, 1639, Cambridge, Massachusetts. William College, Williamsburg, Virginia, founded February 8, 1693, second oldest institute of higher learning in the United States of America. Phi Beta Kappa Society, founded December 5, 1776, the College of William Mary, recognized as the first Greek letter student society in North America. Alpha Delta Pi First Sorority, founded in 1851, Wesleyan College, Macon, Georgia. The first organization to adopt the word sorority was Gamma Phi Beta, established on November 11, 1874 at Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York. The first women's fraternity was at DuPont College, 18-something. Now, the basis of the sorority fraternity of old world secret society from Africa, from Asia, and from Europe. For example, the Freemasons, the Eastern Star. They talk about youth and humanity living in Alexandria, Egypt, 1390-1425, mentioned the Hardware manuscript, the Regent poem, the Cook manuscript, and the Downing manuscript. Examples of them old world secret society from Africa, from Asia, and from Europe. Skull and Bones, Rosicrucian. The Sons of Liberty, Thug Society, Private Society, Ordo Templar Oriented, the Knights of the Golden Eagle. The Woodmen, the Ancient Arab Order of Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, the Improved Order Reading, the P.O. Sisterhood, the Eastern Star, the Freemason, the Elks, the Lower Order Moose, the Middleburg Group, the Ku Klux Klan, the Knights of Bethesda, Knights of Columbia, the Illuminati, Far Side, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Mystic Order of the Bell Prophet, of the Enchanted Ram, the United Order of the Golden Cross, United Ancient Order of Druid, National Grain, the Ancient Order of Herbanana, the Opus Dei, the Knights Temple, the Scottish Rite, the Spanish Garduna, the Carbonari, the Black Hand, you say Mafia, that's Afro-Asiatic. You say Coastal Nostrum, that's Latin, the Triad, Yakuza, the Osiris. Now, this is a list of place names of Native American origin in the United States. For example, state name: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, North, South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Now scroll all the way down to the bottom where you see also, you'll see a list of place names of indigenous origin in the Americas. Piracy and pirates. that is that occult literature. Now, the Office of Juvenile, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice links within the Bureau of Justice, the National Gang Center Bulletin, and the title of that bulletin, History of Street Gangs in the United States, written by Mr. James A. and Mr. John P. Moore. You can also go to the quick reference Wikipedia, and you'll find the same information be titled Gangs in the United States. Now, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Global Rights Frontline Defending Human Rights Without Frontiers, the International Center for Human Rights, and the Conservation International Wildlife Conservation Society, the Conservation Fund, the Legal Conservation Fund, the Earth Watch Institute, Conservancy Association, Earth Justice Conservation Volunteers, and Wildlife Conservation Network, and the Ancient Wildlife Trust, the Biodiversity and Nature Conservancy Association, Rare Species Conservation Center, the Wildlife Research and Conservation Trust, the Rainforest Trust, the International Rainforest Conservation Organization, Rainforest Line, the Rainforest Action Network, Biodiversity International Earth Day Network, Environmental Defense Fund, Friends of the Earth, the Friends of Nature, Greenpeace, the Nature Conservancy, Wildlife Conservation Society, Soil and Water Conservation, Clean Water Action, World Water Council, Marine Conservation Institute, Marine Conservation Alliance, the Oceanic Preservation Society, Ocean Society, Global Ocean Commission, the International Marine Life Alliance. The International Bill of Human Rights. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. The International Federation for Human Rights. The world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. Fauna and Flora International was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. The world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and also the World Wildlife Fund. The Catholic Church and all their particular churches, they be using that occult literature. And see, that's the reason why all these celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainers, they go to college and see that they get initiated into these sorority fraternity. You know, they join it and they become members of the sorority fraternity. Like I said, nobody at the United States Justice Department tell you that. Nobody at the United States Justice Department tell you that. Nobody, you know, you do that on your own. And see, you see all these celebrity athletes calling themselves a Blood and a Crip, going around calling themselves a Bloodstone and a Limestone. See, nobody in the United States Justice Department told you to do that. Like I've been saying, report these celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainment, report their ass to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to the FBI. No damn about it. The Protestant Reformation Movement Church 95 Thesis. That is the Catholic Church and all that particular church. They be using that occult literature. And see, that, like I said, that read why them all these celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainment. That's read why they go to these Protestant Reformation Movement Church 95 Thesis Church, because that's the Catholic Church and all that particular church. They be using that occult literature. Report their ass to the FBI. The American Restoration Movement, Stone Camel Movement. The so-called Church of Christ, no such thing as a Church of Christ. Stone and Camel doing a secret handshake. They having all these people in the Catholic Church and all that particular church hiding. The American Restoration Movement, Stone Camel Movement, the Church of Christ, that's the Catholic Church and all that particular church. They be using that occult literature. Just read, like I said, they read why all these celebrity athletes, celebrity entertainers, that's where they go. Romans, now you know Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He was no apostle. He was not no apostle. He was a self-proclaimed apostle. You know, he wrote all those epistles in the New Testament. He a lying, murdering devil. He was an occultist. That's what he was. And the man-made religious organization, they used those epistles that Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, wrote. Romans chapter 16, verse 16, salute one another with the holy kiss the church. And put the suffix es, or Christ salute you, on the end. Another example, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4. So that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix es of God for your patient favor, all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed apostle Paul, he was not no apostle. He was not no apostle. Devil worship, Satanism, theism, Satanism, atheism. There's no such thing as devil worship, Satanism. See, they took the word devil and Satan out the Holy Bible. It's religious persecution. It's religious persecution. Now, you see the word cult at the very top. See the sorority and the fraternity. They had these individuals who've been members of the sorority and fraternity for over 20 years. And then you have all these these newcomers come in. We'll see they try to treat the alumni like they some kind of know everything. They don't know every damn thing. That's a cult. Now, this is the occult literature that all these so-called secret societies from Africa, Asia, and Europe, the so-called sorority and the fraternity be used. The Western esotericism, esotericism, Western mystery tradition, Hermetism, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, the Eastern Star, the Age of Enlightenment, Spiritualism, Kabbalah, Macrocosm, Micro. You see the word occult and arcane. You remember them two words. And exoteric. Western esotericism, Western mystery tradition, Hermetism, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, Eastern Star, Age of Enlightenment, Spiritualism, Kabbalah, Macrocosm, Micro. You see the word occult and arcane. Remember the two words. And exoteric. See, this is the occult literature. This is the occult literature. They're the secret society from Africa, Asia, and Europe they be using. The so-called sorority and fraternity. That's what they be using. Nobody at the Justice Department telling you that. Nobody at the Justice Department telling you that. And this the other occult literature. Now at the very top you see the word occult. You see arcane. You see esoteric. Spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, New Age, and all that occult side, occult quality. Cult and arcane. You see esoteric, spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, New Age, and that occult side, occult quality. Nobody at the United States Justice Department is going out on the street telling you this nonsense. That's occult literature. Continue to study the first century. And you'll be like, why you gotta study the first century? Well, there's a lot of things happening in the first century. All this, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, He was born in the first century. He lived in the first century. Was crucified in the first century. And was resurrected in the first century. The church started in the first century. The so-called Catholic Church and all that particular church. The first century. Saint Ignatius of Antioch wrote all those several letters to the Smyrnaeans, and in one of those letters he wrote the phrase Catholic Church. Then after that, over at the arena, Saint Ignatius of Antioch was eaten alive. He was eaten alive by lions. So continue to study the first century. We're going to continue to study ancient people in the Holy Bible. The Amorites, Afro-Asiatic. The Egyptians, Afro-Asiatic. The Amalekites, they were supposed descendants of Esau. Kenites were a nomadic tribe in the ancient Levant, and Moses' father-in-law was a Kenite. The Canaanites, they were ancient people. The Kenizzites, they were ancient people. Jupiter, father of the Israelite leader Caleb, is called a Kenizzite. The Hittites, Indo-Europeans. The Perizzites, ancient people. The Rephaims or Rephaite, they were also called Zamzummim or Emim. They were ancient people considered to be giants. The land of Canaan, the Canaanites. Canaan, son of Ham, grandson of Noah. Canaanite ethnic catch-all term cover various indigenous populations, both settled and nomadic pastoral groups throughout southern Levant and Canaan. The Girgasites and the Jebusites, Jebus, the Hittites, the Horites, the Hurrians. Now the Philistines, they were not Afro-Asiatic. And it has not been determined that the Philistines were Indo-European. The Moabites, they were Afro-Asiatic. The Midianites, they were Afro-Asiatic. And the Ammonites, they were Afro-Asiatic. Now, God shows you in the 5 books of Moses, as well as all the other books in the Old Testament and the New Testament, that occult literature is nothing. It's nothing. All that stuff about divination and sorcery and witchcraft, necromancy is nothing. Talking about sacrificing the children, sacrificing to Molech and to Baal and Beelzebub and all them other people. God told you. You see these verses right here. God told you this stuff wrong. That occult literature, that's where it's wrong. God told you it's wrong. Divination, wrong. Sorcery, wrong. Witchcraft, wrong. Necromancy, wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. You see, God told you in the Ten Commandments, talking about bowing down to other gods. There ain't no such thing, no other God. That occult literature. It's nothing. It's nothing. Now let's go to the Holy Bible. Let's go to the Holy Bible. We're going to go to the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses, the book of Exodus. Like I said, we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, the 10 Commandments. See, that occult literature is nothing. See, you come to your Holy Bible, and you turn to the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses. Turn to the book of Exodus, the 10 Commandments, chapter 20. Start reading the verse number 1. Read the whole 10 Commandments. Now it's chapter 20, verses 1 through 26. You read the whole chapter. The 10 Commandments, verses 1 through 17. Pay close attention. And God spake all these words, saying, listen. Listen now. This is very important. Listen. That occult literature is nothing. I am the Lord. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thy God. That literature is nothing. Why you say that? When you hear God tell you, I am the Lord, thy God, there's nothing for you to make up. God already gave you your way of living. So that literature, that so-called literature that you be making up, taking the word devil and taking the word Satan out the Holy Bible, that ain't what God told you. And God already showed you in the 5 books of Moses what he did to those defiant and disobedient people. God said, kill them. God told the children, kill them. The Perizzites, the Hittites, the Amorites, kill all of them, the Midianites, kill all of them, the Kenizzites, the Canaanites, the Rephaims, kill every damn one of them. Don't leave nobody. Kill all of them. Because that's what they tried to do. They tried to make up Beelzebub and Molech, doing all these sacrifices to idol worship. God told you, it's wrong. I'm your God. I'm your God. You listen to me. You don't listen to these man-made idols and all this. You don't listen to it. You listen to me. You don't have no choice nor decision when I tell you I'm your God. You don't have no choice nor decision anyway. God told you in the Old Testament, God told you right there, I am the Lord, thy God. I'm your God. I said that. I'm God. I said it. And ain't nobody gonna go over my head. I'm the only God. See, God told you. And he shows you. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water under earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my command. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, thy God, in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guilty that taking his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy strain that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rest the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, hallelujah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in it, that is thy neighbor's. Verses 1 through 17, the 10 Commandments. God told you 5 times, I am the Lord thy God. 5 times in the 10 Commandments. That's how important it was. It's just as important that God had to repeat it 5 times. I am the Lord thy God. There's no such thing as no occult literature. Now let's go to the Holy Bible again. This time we're going to the New Testament. Holy Bible. Now we're going to go to the New Testament about this occult literature. We just went to the Old Testament about this occult literature. Now let's go to the New Testament. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who was in the Old Testament. He is a divine inspiration. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, the greatest commandment in the law. We can go to the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 35 through 40. The book of Mark, chapter 12, verses 28 through 31. And the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 through 28. So let's go to the book of Matthew. The greatest commandment in the law. See that occult literature is nothing. Now, we're in the Holy Bible. We're in the New Testament, the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 35 through 40. The greatest commandment in the law. We start reading at verse 35. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him and saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, pay attention. Thou shalt love the Lord. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thy God. With all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. Let me go and read. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophet. Now, let's expound on this. Now, thou shalt love the Lord. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thy God. That occult literature is nothing. You're being told again, just like in the Old Testament, now you're being told in the New Testament, thy God. Thou shalt love the Lord, thy God. You don't have no choice, no decision in it. That choice and decision was made by God. And you will love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Well, see, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, he was in the Old Testament. The book of Genesis, he was there with Abraham. He was there with Sarah when she prayed. Instead of Sarah's name being Sarai, they changed her name to Sarah. It was Jesus that did that. Abraham's name was Abram. And the Lord changed the name to Abraham. It was Jesus. See, you love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. See, everything that you read in the 5 books of Moses, it was Jesus. In all them other books, it was Jesus. And then we go on to the church. And then after the crucifixion and after the resurrection, the Holy Ghost, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, with all thy soul. You see, when you read about Isaiah, you read about Ezekiel and Jeremiah, them other books, The book of Psalms, Proverbs, to love the Lord thy God with all thy soul, divine inspiration. The book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that you read all the time. Love the Lord thy God with all thy soul. See, you're not greater than God. You think that you can take the divine inspiration and you can tear it up and burn it. You know, you love the Lord thy God with all thy soul when you read the book of Acts and you see all the persecution of the church. You see the persecution of the church. You see the 12 disciples who are apostles. And they were taught by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And the church was established in Jerusalem. And when the church was established by Jerusalem, the church was persecuted by Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. But see, when you love the Lord thy God with all thy soul, the one who was doing all the persecuting supposedly was converted by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God. You love the Lord thy God with all thy soul. Saul was supposedly converted by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God. You love the Lord thy God with all thy mind. With all thy mind. You know, sometimes you watch television, and when you watch television, well, that's part of what we're talking about. And you make all these inventions. Just like this COVID-19. And you got to wear a mask. See, you love the Lord thy God with all thy mind. And then you see all the different designs, how the mask is made. And the mask is supposed to be a life-saving device, supposed to save your life. You see, some people, not all people, some people, they're not trying to do what's right. Some people, they try to do what's wrong. And you put one of them masks on, you're going to die. You're going to die. But see, you ain't love the Lord thy God with all thy mind. See, that's what that means. Love the Lord thy God with all thy mind. And he said this is the first and great command. And the second is like unto thee, thou shalt love thy neighbor. As I said, who is that? You know, you make it sound like it's controversial. Like you confused when you say neighbor. And God tell you to love thy neighbor. And that's a commandment. God gave you a commandment. Love. And second is like unto thee, thou shalt. What is shalt? You don't have no, it's not a question. Like maybe I will, maybe I won't. Thou shalt. You know, it ain't no option involved. Well, maybe I think about it. See, that's the wrong. that you conceive in your mind. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. As you love yourself. If you don't love your neighbor, you must don't love yourself. Because in order for you to love thy neighbor as you love thyself, that's what it is. You have to love thyself. And based on the love that you have for yourself, you have to love thy neighbor. And I know you see people every day. I know when I be out in the public, I'm driving on the highway, getting off the highway. And what do I see? When I'm getting off the highway, getting back onto the regular street, I see a person with a sign. I see a person standing there when I'm getting off the highway, standing there with a sign. I'm homeless. Standing on it, when people getting off the highway. Now I ain't see nobody standing when I'm getting on the highway, but when I'm getting off the highway, there's a person standing there. It is. It's a person standing there. I'm talking about sometimes it be different people. They be standing there with a piece of cardboard, standing there. I'm homeless. Help me. Now me, don't think that Eric ain't never helped a homeless person, because I have. On more than one occasion I have. Now sometimes I'm talking about me, a lot of times I don't keep money on me. Because we live in a day and time where we have debit cards and cards, So I don't really just carry, dollars. I really don't. I'm just being honest, because that's the day and time we live. I usually don't even keep money on, because I don't really just, every now and then I'm going to have a dollar bill on me, because there was some change, I might have a few. I don't even have $10 in my wallet. It's very rare. I'm talking about me. It's very rare that I even have a dollar bill in my wallet, because there's a day and time we live in. So we debit cards with the little chip on, with the microchip. I don't even. And talking about some loose change. I don't even keep loose change on me. So when it comes to a homeless person, it's not like, like I don't. It's just sometimes I can't pull my card out, and the homeless person don't have one of those debit card machines, But that's the day and time we live in. So sometimes, if I did have some money on, I have it. Sometimes, let me say, I think about 2 weeks ago, I just happened to be at a convenience, at a Walgreens or something, and it just so happened a homeless person was standing outside, standing outside. And when I seen him, when I first went in, I seen him. Then when I came back out, it just so happened I had some loose. I had a couple dollars in my pocket. But see, I gave it to him. I gave it to him. I didn't even hesitate. I gave it to him. I didn't even look down on the man or nothing. I didn't have anything to say about myself like I was better than anybody, but I had compassion and mercy for my fellow man. When I was able to, offer some assistance, I was able to do it, and I did it. But like I said, a lot of times, it's not like I didn't want to. It's just the day and time we live in. A lot of times I don't keep loose money on, because debit card. Most of the time I have it when I get gas. I don't even walk up to I see people at the gas station all the time. They walk over there to the cashier and they give the cashier money. I don't even do that. I'm serious. I do not do that. I don't keep money on me, period. When I get gas, I pull my card out When I go to the grocery store, I pull my card out. Every time I go somewhere. It's just the damn time we live in. I don't have loose change. You know. It's just the damn time we live in. You know. But like I said, you know, who is my neighbor? You know. Sometimes you have to be careful in this damn time because you know people react. Sometimes you might want to give somebody some advice. You know, might be some good advice you need. Just like walking your ass around here listening to the sorority fraternity. I got some good advice for you. Stop listening to the sorority fraternity. Because you're going to get your damn ass killed. Nobody at the Justice Department telling the sorority fraternity to walk their ass on the street and tell other people that I've been to college and I got a bachelor's degree and I got a master's degree, I got a PhD. Nobody telling the sorority fraternity to be on social media to try to influence other people by telling them I got a bachelor's degree, I got a master's degree, I got a PhD. You can be in a gang. Nobody at the Justice Department told you that. You're going to get your damn ass killed. Good advice. God's Word, the New Testament, and Jesus Christ, Old Testament, New Testament. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, all thy mind. That's a command. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. That's a command. That occult literature. How is it that you don't have in your brain, that you don't see, that occult literature don't? It should be obvious that occult literature is wrong. It just told you in the New Testament. Just told you. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ just told you. Just told you. It's nothing. And here also, that occult literature is nothing. Just read the scripture and you will see it's nothing. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is right there in front of you. That occult literature, it don't mean nothing because it's nothing. It's right there in front of you. The book of Matthew and the book of Mark is right there in front of you. It's nothing. no such thing as being a Christian. It's right there in chapter 11, Acts chapter 11, verse 26. Ain't no such thing as being no Christian. That's the occult. See, what they did, they went behind the apostles' back. They went behind the apostles' back. And see, that with the sorority and fraternity line. See, in Acts chapter 26:11, this is what they did. They was over there in Antioch. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul. And they was over there in Antioch, behind the apostles' back. You see, John Mark, he was on the ship with Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed apostle Paul. That's Acts chapter 13. And verse number 10. John Mark went back to Jerusalem. And he went back and told them. After John Mark did that, this is what happened. Acts chapter 15, verse number 2. This is after John Mark went back to Jerusalem when he told them. See, you're not no Christian. See, this is what they don't be telling you. When you be hearing these people in the Catholic Church and all the particular church, and then you hear all these Protestant Reformation Church, 95 Thesis Church, the so-called American Restoration Movement, Stone Counter Movement, the Church of Christ. This is what they don't be telling you. They don't tell you that John Mark went back to Jerusalem and went back and told you. They don't tell you that the occult, the people, the occultists, they was lying. They went behind the apostles' back. They tried to go behind the apostles' back over there in Antioch. And then John Mark went back and told them. And after John Mark went back and told them, this what happened. Acts chapter 15, verse number 2. And then this what happened. Acts chapter 15, verse 22. It ain't no such thing being a Christian. It ain't no such thing being a Christian. See, they don't tell you that. See, the sorority and fraternity, the so-called secret society from Africa, Asia, and Europe, they lie. They be lying. See, this is really why when you talk about Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed. See, when you love the Lord thy God with all thy mind, after you supposedly got converted, see the devil. See, that's what it means. See, what do it mean when you supposedly got, you know what it really means? He the devil. Get straight to the point. He the devil. And if you gonna defy Jesus, what that mean? He the devil. That's what he was telling you when you don't listen to the Holy Ghost in the book of Acts. What they telling you? They telling you he the devil. That's what they telling you. Then you sitting up here reading the epistle. They telling you in the book of Acts that Saul from Tarsus, self-proclaimed the devil. They telling you he the devil. He the devil. How you gonna get converted by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, and lie about your conversion? And you don't even listen to the Holy Ghost. You the devil. Now it says here, this is the verdict for the coroner's jury. The state of California, the county of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cook, deceased. Before the coroner of the county of Los Angeles, we, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County, room 150, Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December 18, 1964, to inquire into the cause of death of Sam Cook. Having been duly sworn according to law, and having made such inquisition hearing the testimony adduced upon our oath, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cook, a male married native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, and that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964 at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California, that his death was caused by a gunshot wound of chest, perforating the heart and both lungs, with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California, after the deceased had made forcible entry. And from the testimony introduced at this time, we find that his death to be justifiable homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin in the protection of life and property. Now, I'm going to again read the testimony of a police officer, Mr. Wallace R. Cook, being first duly sworn, testifying as follows. The coroner, please state your name, Wallace R. Cook, and your occupation. Police officer, City of Los Angeles, assigned to the 77th Division Patrol. Did you receive a call in regard to this matter? Yes, sir, I did. When? You may refer to your report or your notes if you wish. Are you concerned with the time and date? The time and date. The time was approximately 3:15 a.m. I believe that was on the 10th or the 11th. I don't recall right at the moment. You may refer to your report if you wish. That was on the 11th, sir. The 11th of December 1964, yes, sir. And did you go to 9137 South Figueroa Street, Los Angeles? Yes, I did. And what is at this location? This was the location they shooting of the deceased on our arrival, along with what type of a location is this? A single family dwelling. This is a motel. It is a motel, yes, sir. And whom did you contact at the motel when you arrived? Miss Bertha L. Franklin. And tell the jury you're investigating at that time. Interviewing Miss Franklin, she stated that approximately 2:35 a.m. on that day, the deceased and a lady friend had checked in at the motel approximately 25 minutes later. While Miss Franklin was having a telephone conversation with a friend, she received a knock on the door, which was the deceased asking if his lady friend was inside. Miss Franklin stated no, she was not, and at the time the deceased left, Miss Franklin continued her phone call with her friend. Shortly after, a very few minutes, as a matter of fact, Miss Franklin stated that she heard a car drive from the rear portion of the motel parking lot to the front and stopped, and again the deceased came to the door and started pounding and shouting and asking if his lady friend was inside, and again Miss Franklin stated she was not at this time. The deceased broke the door open in both locks, walking past Miss Franklin, checking the other rooms of her living quarters, and coming back in, shouted and hollered to her, asking her where his lady friend was at. At this time, Miss Franklin stated he became more violent and grabbed her. At this time, they struggled, and she managed to get hold of her gun and shot to the seat. After laying her gun down, the seat continued to struggle somewhat, and Miss Franklin stated that she then picked up a stick, laying nearby, and hit him on the head. At that time, he continued to fall to the floor, and the police were notified. Was there any physical evidence at the scene to indicate forcible entry into Mrs. Franklin's apartment? Yes, sir, there was. The stripping all down the door had been busted. And did you retain the scene as it was until the investigation officer arrived? Yes, I did. I was Mr. Cook dressed at the time. He had on a sports jacket, one shoe, another shoe laying nearby, which he apparently had on, and no other clothing. Did you observe any injuries on Miss Franklin at the time? No, I did not, except for a large amount of blood on her clothes. There was blood on Mrs. Franklin's clothes. Yes, sir, there was. It was any of this furniture disarrayed or turned over or broken in the apartment, or evidence of an altercation. It is hard to say. The apartment was disarrayed, although I don't recall any furniture that was actually toppled over or broken other than the door. And was there any evidence of alcohol on the part of Miss Franklin upon your arrival? No. So that was a part of the testimony of the police officer. And as for Eliza Bowling, there's no need to hear anything she got to say. It don't have any bearing on the murder. Now this is Bertha L. Franklin testifying. Bertha Lee Franklin, being first duly sworn, testified as follows. The coroner pulled a speaker over you, Miss Franklin, and state your full name, Bertha Lee Franklin, and your address, 9137 South Freeway, Los Angeles. It is my duty to inform you that if you feel your testimony at this inquest might tend to incriminate you, you have a constitutional right to decline to testify. Is that clear? Yes. Are you represented by counsel at this time, at this inquest? No. Do you wish to testify? I can if you want me to. Do you wish to testify? I don't mind. Directing your attention to the early morning hours of December 11, 1970, when did you first see Mr. Sam Cook at the window when he came in to rest? And are you the manager or were you? Make sure you highlight that. She the manager. Are you the manager or were you the manager of the motel located at 9137 South Fillmore Street? Yes. And were you alone in your motel quarters at that time? Yes. Were you dressed in your street clothes? Yes. What did Mr. Cook say to you when you first met him? He came to register. He wanted room for overnight. And did Mr. Cook sign the register? Yes, he did. And did you form an opinion as to whether or not Mr. Cook was intoxicated? Well, as a rule, I usually smell alcohol on people. I didn't smell any on him when he came to the window to rest, but I did smell him. So I couldn't say he was intoxicated. Did you see a person identified as Lisa Boyer, Miss Boyer, the girl that was with him? Yes. Yes, I saw her. How did Mr. Cook register? First wrote his name, just his name down. And then I told him, I said I saw her coming. And so I told him you would have to put Mr. and Mrs. because he had already put number 2 on this card. And then Mr. Cook and Miss Boyer, the girl, say anything. Was there any argument? No, she didn't say anything. She didn't say a word. Eliza Boyer, she ain't got nothing to do with this. You didn't hear her make any statement? No, she didn't. She didn't say anything. That is the reason I couldn't tell the police what accent she spoke, because she didn't say anything. And to the best of your knowledge, had you ever seen Miss Boyer before this early morning hour? No. And have you ever seen Mr. Cook before this occasion? No. No more than on TV. Now, what was your answer? No. Then did Mr. Cook and Miss Boyer leave your vision, or did you take them to the motel room? No, they went. They went. It was already unlocked. And what is the next thing that happened unusual? Well, I went on back to my telephone conversation. I didn't watch them. Were you talking on the phone when Mr. Cook rented the room? Yes. No, I wasn't talking on the phone when he rented the room. It was shortly after. Shortly after Mr. Cook rented the room, yes, because he came in at 2:35. Did you receive a phone call? Yes. Did you call someone? Did they call you? They called me. Who was this individual? My boss. Your boss. My boss. Wife. My boss' wife. What is her name? Evelyn Carr. Evelyn Carr. And while you were talking on the phone to Mrs. Carr, did anything unusual occur? Someone knocked on the door. Let me say that. I know what you're thinking about that telephone. I know what you're thinking. But we're dealing with the criminal court of appeals. Now you can't be bringing up stuff, hearsay, all this stuff, and then trying to make. Moving on. Someone knocked on the door, and I told them to wait a minute. And I went to the window. You went to the window of your motel. Keep your voice up. Yes. And I didn't see anyone. And then what happened? Well, I came back and started my conversation all over again. And then did anyone else knock at the door? Yes. Who knocked at the door this time? If you know, Mr. Cook. What did Mr. Cook say? I got up and walked to the window. He never rang the bell. He knocked on the door. Keep your voice up. He didn't ring the bell. He knocked on the door. What did Mr. Cook say when he knocked on the door? Where is the girl? And what did you say? I told him I didn't see no girl. When he went down, he had on a light shirt. The collar was loose. When he rented the motel, he had a light shirt on, and his collar was loose. And his tie was hanging down, and he had his shirt on the outside of his pants. How did he look when he knocked on the door last time? Well, he had on a jacket then. Did you see in his shirt? No, just had a jacket. How much of Mr. Cook could you see through your front door window this way? You are indicating for the record across the chest. And your answer is yes, yes. That is it, where I saw. And did you admit Mr. Cook to your apartment? No, I didn't. What did you tell Mr. Cook? I admit nobody to my apartment unless I know them, you know, who they are. Everybody can't come into the office, especially at that time of night. What did Mr. Cook say? He asked me where was the girl. He just kept saying, where's the girl? I told him I don't know. He asked if he could see if she was in there. Then I said, listen, call the police. they will come. Those are the only people that can come in here. He said, damn the police, and then he started working with his shoulder. You are indicating for the record, was he forcing your door with his shoulder? Yes, he was. And how many times did he force your door, if you know, with his shoulder before he made entry? Well, I just couldn't say, because I can't say just how many times, but it wasn't long before he was in. And did you hear the sound of any lock breaking or boards breaking when he entered? Sure, they broke. He broke the door down. No, he didn't break the door down. He broke the stripping off, where the lock is. He broke the lock off the door. The stripping downside the door, stripping on the side of the door. Yeah, and the slide latch. That little thing that it slides into. The slide latch. He broke that off, and this lock, he broke it. And what did he do, or you do after he broke the lock? What happened after he got in your apartment? When he walked in, pay attention. When he walked in, he walked straight to the kitchen. Did you hear that? He walked straight to the kitchen. He never touched it. See, this is what a murder charge. See, you tried to accuse this man like he gonna tear the door down and just run right into Burger Frank. But he did. Mr. Sam Cook broke the door down and walked right past. He walked straight to the kitchen, and then he came back and went into the bedroom. Now, while he doing all that, look at what she doing. She just standing there. She just standing there. Now I know what you're thinking. She probably said something, but the point is this: Mr. Cook, what did he do? He tore the door down, and then what? He walked right straight past Bertha Frank, looking for that girl. But he never touched her. He didn't even touch Bertha Frank. Didn't even say nothing to her. Walked straight past. And then he came back in, went into the bedroom. Then he came out. I was standing there on the floor, and he grabbed both of my arms and started twisting them and asked me where was the girl. Now for clarification, Mr. Cook came out to the bedroom and grabbed both your arms. Yes. And you are demonstrating your wrist. Well, they sore after this episode. I am sore all over now, and I'm taking therapy treatments every other day. And did you return this physical force and pay attention? See, when they ask a question, pay attention. Did you return that physical force? See, self-defense. See, Mr. Sam Cook grabbed your arm. Yeah, he did. And what did you do? Did you return that physical force? And did you return this physical force in any manner? Yes, I did. Tell the jury what you did. He was twisting my arm, and so we got in a tussle. So finally I fell to the floor. He fell on top of me. I don't know if I hit the table with my head or not to knock it, tipped over to the couch. So then I started kicking, and he may have a bite. I don't know, but I tried to bite him through that jacket. You tried to bite Mr. Cook? Yes, biting, scratching, biting, scratching, and everything. That's self-defense. That is self-defense. What was Mr. Cook doing at this time? He was still twisting my arm and holding me down there on the floor. Finally, I got up. So she got up. When I kicked him, then she kicked him. So now, it ain't just, now it's the other way. See, this is what the law tell you. See, you can bring it, you can say, Mr. Cook grabbed somebody, yeah, but you fought back. So you returned that physical force, you defended yourself. Now, what are you doing? You finally got up. When you got up, what did you do? You kicked Mr. Cook. You make it sound like Mr. Cook don't have no rights. You make it sound like you can just do whatever the hell you want to do. But the law don't say that. That ain't what the law say. He was still twisting my arm, holding me down there on the floor. Finally, I got up. So you got up. When I kicked him, I think back toward the wall. Then he ran back to me. And I pushed him back down. And she pushed him back down. So at that time, so now Mr. Cook is down. Mr. Sam Cook is down. She pushed him down. See, this is the reason why it was wrong. It's wrong what you did. It's wrong. It's wrong. That's first degree murder. So at that time, I ran. Now you running. See, this is what they're going to tell you about running. When you ran, you weren't running because Mr. Cook was after you. This is what you was doing. You was running because you were trying to kill Mr. Sam Cook. You were running to get a weapon. And when you did that, this is what they tell you about first degree murder, premeditated murder. Is when you had the thought in your mind. You had enough time to think about it. You had enough time to think about it. You ran and grabbed a gun. And then I started shooting. You don't have the right to do that. This is what the law tell you. This ain't just Eric just saying it. See, I'm telling you, this is what the law gonna tell you about excessive force. See, when you push Mr. Sam Cook down, when you pushed him down, you claim, you say he ran back at me, and then I pushed him down. So now he down. He down. You can't run and get a gun and blow his brains out. The law didn't tell you to do that. You don't have the right to do that. The law does not tell you, anybody, that when a person is down, you can go and run and grab a gun. And this man don't even have a weapon. This man wasn't doing it but looking for this girl. So you got into a tussle. Well, you ran and grabbed a gun. You had time to think about it. And then you shot Mr. Sam Cook. And it said, do you normally keep the pistol on top of the TV? I keep it handy mostly in the place in the house where I can reach it. Why do you keep the pistol? Because I've been held up talking to the speaker. You have been held up, yes. And do you keep this pistol for self-protection? That is right. And what did you do when you grabbed your pistol? I started shooting. And how far was Mr. Cook away from you when you started shooting? He wasn't too far. He was at close range. And how many times did you fire this pistol? 3 times. How do you know whether you struck or did you know you struck Mr. Cook? Just because he said, lady, you shot me. And when Mr. Cook said, lady, you shot me, what was he doing at this time? Ran at me again. He ran at you again. Well, your answer is yes. And what did you do when I started fighting again? Then I got this stick and hit him with that. When did you hit Mr. Cook with the stick? In the head. And did the stick break? Yes. Or was it broken before you struck Mr. Cook? No, it was very flimsy. It wasn't too good. And you struck Mr. Cook on the head with the stick? Yes. And how many times did you strike Mr. Cook on the head? If you know, well, I sure don't know. But the first time I hit him, it broke. And did you receive medical treatment for your injury? Yes. And were you in fear of your life when you fired the gun in the wrist, Mr. Cook? Yes, sir. If he had nerve to break in my apartment and jump on me, how did I know what he was going to do? You gotta answer the question. Now, the prosecutor attorney asked us, "Do you have any question, Mr. Barilla? When you received that call from Miss Carr, what was that about?" Some prowlers were around her place. She was calling me to warn me of some prowlers. It was just before the knock on the door. At that time when he knocked, she was talking to me. She was on the phone. And then she was good. And so that was what Bertha Frank to see. But you can't do that. See, that's the reason why they say about the law. See, the circumstance. You can't push Mr. Cook down and try to make it sound like he grabbed my arm, so I'm gonna go run and grab a pistol. It's a thing in the law. But Mr. Sam Cook is the victim. He was already the victim from the start. You the manager. And you weren't really qualified to be in a manager's position. You weren't qualified. You weren't qualified. And you can't try to talking about Mr. Sam Cook tore the door down, so that's what, as you can see when you read this, Mr. Sam Cook never touched you. See, it wasn't about trying to hurt you in the first place. The only thing Mr. Sam Cook was doing was looking for the girl. He was calling talking about this girl. You can't go and run and grab no gun on Mr. Sam Cook. And the fact that Mr. Sam Cook was a celebrity, somebody that you've seen on TV, like entertainer. I don't know why you think being a manager, that's the way you're supposed to manage. But that ain't no justifiable homicide. There ain't no justifiable homicide. That's first degree murder. See, when you fell down and all that stuff, see, this what the judge is gonna tell you about the law. Mr. Sam could grab your arm and they asked you a question. Did you return that force? Yes. That's what they was asking you for. That's the reason why they asked you the question, the way they asked you the question. Did you return that physical force? Yes. That's self-defense. You can't bring it up as a defense. That's what that means. That's not a defense. Since you returned that physical force, that's what it means. Mr. Sam Cook, you could have hurt him. You talking about your arm, you know what I'm saying? This is what it means. Your arm got twisted and you claim he hurt you. But when you return that physical force, you could have hurt Mr. Sam Cook. Just like scratching and biting, you hurt Mr. Sam Cook. And you got him up off you. Just like someone kicking him between the legs. And when you did that, he was hurt. And he was down. So when you got Mr. Sam Cook up off you, this is what the law tells you. When you jump on him, the law will tell you can't do that. Because he wasn't doing anything to you no more. Whatever physical altercation you got to, he grabbed my arm, you returned it to the force, then that's it. That's it. That's it. Then once you got him up off you, you claim he came back at me. So I kicked him. Okay, you kicked Mr. Cook. He hit the wall. Then what? After I kicked Mr. Cook, he hit the wall. Then what you do? I pushed him down. He kept coming in. So I pushed him down. When you pushed Mr. Cook down, what then? What happened? I ran and grabbed it. Wait a minute. Wait. You did what? I ran and you ran. Did Mr. Cook follow you? No. I ran and grabbed a gun, so you already knew you had a gun. You already knew you had a gun. Mr. Cook didn't know you had no gun. Then you ran and grabbed a gun. And then what? I shot Mr. Cook. Did you shoot? Did you fire a warning shot? Did you give Mr. Sam Cook a warning? Like, hey, stay back. Did you even show Mr. Sam Cook a gun? Look, I got a firearm. Look, stay back. See, you just ran and grabbed a gun and started shooting. You can't do that. You can't do that. You pushed Mr. Sam Cook down. Whatever fist or whatever altercation y'all had, you pushed him down. Okay. Then you ran. You weren't running for your life. You didn't run out the door to get away from Mr. Sam Cook. You ran and grabbed a gun. The law does not tell you that you ran just because you ran and grabbed a gun. That doesn't mean that mean that the law will tell you was right. No, the law don't say that. The law does not say that when you push Mr. Sam Cook down, he was not coming at you. Mr. Sam Cook got just as many rights as you have. You're not above the law. That's what the people in the courtroom say. You're not above the law. And then you try to bring up all this stuff. Talking about he hit me upside my head. No, you can't make up all these excuses to run and grab a gun and blow Mr. Sam Cook's brains out. Cause while you was down on the floor, Mr. Cook didn't throw no blows. I don't know how you could sit up there and you ain't got no bust nose, you ain't got no bust lip, you ain't got no blood nowhere. Mr. Sam Cook didn't throw no blows. You just fell down and he fell down on top of it. But it was you. It was you. Sam, he twisted my arm. You ain't got no busted nose, no black eye, no busted lip, but it was you that was biting, kicking, and scratching, and fighting back and returning that physical force. Well, when you return that physical force, you can't bring that up like there's a reason for you to run and grab a gun. Then you got up. When you got up, you kicked Mr. Cook. See? That's what the law will tell you. That was no justifiable homicide. That's first degree murder. That's first degree murder. When you push Mr. Cook down, because you claim he kept coming at me, and then I pushed him back down. That was it. And when you say you ran, after you pushed Mr. Cook down, the law will tell you you ain't run out the door to get away from Mr. Sam Cook. You ran and grabbed a gun. That ain't the same. That's first degree murder. That's first degree murder. These are just a few of the free logo design websites you can go to make anti-gang logos. Now I'm gonna get ready to end today's video again. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also on BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, County, State of Tennessee. Thank all my fans, my support for your continued current support. I'm going to continue to speak out and protest and continue to be an advocate on Mr. Sam Cooke. It wasn't no justifiable homicide, first degree murder. That was wrong. What the people in the courtroom did, that was wrong. It was wrong with that criminal Bertha Lee from Franklin did. And I'm going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. It was wrong. A young man, that's not the way his life's supposed to end. And for his wife, at that time, that Barbara Campbell Cook, his two daughters, and all his children. Linda and Trace and all his children. Carla and all the grandchildren. All of Mr. Sam Cooke's nieces and nephews. I know that his mother and father passed away down in Mr. Sam Cooke's sister and brothers. And like I say, his niece and nephew, all his family's friend, Mr. Lou Rawls, who is now passed away. Mr. Johnny Taylor, who is also passed away now. But that wasn't no justifiable homicide. That's not what the law said. I just read it. That's not what the law said about murder and about self-defense. That wasn't no self-defense. You push Mr. Sam Cooke and all that other stuff, you return to physical force. See, when you talk about self-defense in the law, all these 50 states and federal state law, you can't do that. You can't and see the malice. You know, you can't do that. You can't push Mr. Cooke down and then run and grab a gun and start shooting and empty the gun. You can't do that. What they tell you can get a 9mm with 14 bullets in a 9mm and empty the clip. Who told you that? What state? It ain't no state in the union you can empty a clip. Legally, illegally people do stuff on the street, but legally, and then you think you're going to court of law and tell them people to court. If somebody broke into my house and you empty the clip, what state? It ain't no state that'll tell you that. You can't push Mr. Cooke down and run and grab it. How you push Mr. Cooke down and then you need a gun? See what I'm talking about? You push Mr. Cooke down, but you need and then you ran and grabbed it, you need a gun. He fell down, you pushed him down on the floor. And then you ran and grabbed a gun. You needed a gun. Sound like Mr. Cooke needed a gun. That's what it sound like. All that biting and kicking and scratching. Sound like Mr. Cooke needed a weapon. So I'm gonna continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. And you take care of yourself. Always put God first. Always put God first. Take care of yourself. Which is your way, baby.